we don't know who it or where it is, then as Britain alone, make Britain great again, we will with one leap be free. And that's what Boris Johnson and Michael Gove and Farage, an unholy trinity at best. And
what happens when someone criticises Nigel Farage, Brexit and Boris Johnson, while sitting across from Boris Johnson's own sister? You're about to find out. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In this remarkable interview, musician and activist Bob Geldof doesn't hold back. He delivers a passionate critique of Brexit, the rise of populist politics across Europe, and the figures he believes have helped shape that movement, including Nigel Farage and former Prime Minister Boris Johnson. What makes this exchange so compelling isn't just what Geldof says, it's who he's saying it to. Across the table is Rachel Johnson, Boris Johnson's sister, creating a conversation that becomes far more personal than a typical political interview. Rather than avoiding the difficult topics, Geldof speaks candidly about the direction of British politics, the consequences of Brexit, and the influence of nationalist movements across Europe. Whether you agree with his views or not, he makes it clear exactly where he stands. So sit back and watch how this extraordinary conversation unfolds. Because it's not every day you see someone deliver such direct criticism of one of Britain's most well-known political figures while speaking face-to-face with a member of their own family.
All the things we said empirically would happen, happened. Okay, there's been no known social benefit. There has been no known political benefit. There has been no known bureaucratic benefit. And given half the thing was to get rid of red tape, that simply hasn't happened. In fact, it's increased because the non-deals that we said would happen as a result of your brother's trade agreement at the end, the ones that they said would happen with the Americas, etc., haven't happened at all. So there's been no known benefit to this thing. But let's cut to the chase.
Andy Burnham becomes Prime Minister. How do you see things changing? Do you think that Nigel Farage will still be dominating the political scene, or do you think that he is now going to recede into the background and we can have a normal conversation about Europe again?
I think it would be a huge mistake for a Burnham administration, should he become leader, to focus on a rejoin campaign. This country's debt is spiralling out of control. Our interest rates are higher than Greece and Italy. Blair did a very interesting essay about not dealing with the symptoms of the cost of living crisis, which is what bothers people, but it's not the symptoms, it's the cause of it. It's lack of infrastructural investment, etc., etc. He has to get his head around that first. He has to get investment coming in. He has to free up the employment market. There's so much on the agenda that to try and put Europe front and centre of a campaign is simply not going to work. You've got to give people an idea of a future that's immediate and viable. You've got to offer them hope. And I think Brexit 10 years ago was a vestige of that. I think that people were clinging on. If we just free of the shackles of this omnivorous monster that we have no control over, we don't know who it or where it is, then as Britain alone, make Britain great again, we will with one leap be free. And that's what Boris Johnson and Michael Gove and Farage, an unholy trinity at best, and silly people like Jacob Rees-Mogg were articulating. So it's all very cartoonish, it's all very Beano. I mean, your brother's a Beano character, isn't he? And Jacob Rees-Mogg is a Beano, Lord Snooty, and all these
so
guys.
Cameron,
in a way. And look at Farage, he's your
he's
country
a Beano
squire
character
blokey.
too,
yeah,
but a kind of a faux one. The Galacticos of the Vote Leave campaign came into a press conference and have since admitted in the same documentary we participated in for Norma Percy that they had no plan at all. They thought that was David Cameron's job to create the plan for Vote Leave, even if Vote Leave won, right? And his side lost, because of course Cameron and Osborne were architects of the Remain campaign. So there was a complete vacuum on June the 24th. There was no plan. So
the scandal is that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years later, there was still no understanding of what they'd done. There was no plan. I'm not getting at you, please don't, or your family, but Boris just fumbled from day to day, not having a clue where he was going or what he was meant to do. The only thing was get Brexit done. What does that? We still don't even know. What we do is we're floundering, really floundering today in the politics still of that was created 10 years ago. It was a massive, fundamental mistake. And my entire point on telly then and now is this. If Britain was the loose thread on the Euro jumper and Brexit pulled it, then the continent may very well unravel. And if it does, we're back to late 19th century politics. We're back to conflict between states, etc. We become very weak indeed in the face of the new superpowers. We cease to be very much indeed. And I don't want to be a smart arse here this morning on a beautiful summer's morning, but look at us. What did we do that day? And is it recoverable? And I don't honestly think that going back to the status quo ante is viable. I just don't. So wither Great Britain, and we've become increasingly nationalistic with the breakup. I mean, is England the last colony of itself? As Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland now all run by nationalist governments, whether England, and that's what really Brexit led to. England unto itself. Is that what they wanted? Many people will say yes, we'd be able to plough our own furrow. You're ploughing yourself into the ground. And I say it with no sense of satisfaction, almost with sadness and despair. I'm really old now, and I don't want to leave the country in the state it is to my children and my grandchildren. I really don't want to do that. So what Burnham must do is lance the boil of discontent, lack of hope, unhappiness, and Farage feeds on that. He really can do it. If he makes his agenda rejoin, then it gives him
it's a Christmas present for
it's
Farage.
A Christmas present.
So, there you have it. Bob Geldof didn't hold back. He challenged Brexit, criticised Nigel Farage and Jacob Rees-Mogg, and even took direct aim at Boris Johnson while sitting opposite Boris Johnson's own sister. Whether you agree with him or not, it made for a remarkable exchange. But the biggest takeaway wasn't the personal criticism, it was the warning. Geldof argues that the frustrations driving Brexit haven't disappeared. Many of the same economic and political concerns are still shaping British politics today, helping fuel new movements like Reform UK. That's why debates like this continue to matter. They aren't just about the past, they're about where Britain goes next. What do you think? Was Geldof right, or do you see things differently? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one.